Okay, honestly, I know it's been a while since I last did a story, and honestly, I'm just working on doing different types of content, but you know what? We're back to the story times because I think this is like our main route. Like, this is where I came from, you know? It's just something of me. And honestly, if you guys haven't noticed already, I've been reading your guys' comments a lot, and honestly, here's one story that I think you guys are gonna laugh at a lot. And let's just say I am potty trained, but let's just say I'm not the best at being potty trained, if that makes sense. As usual, though, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe to every channel if you guys haven't already. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do this because I'm always trying to make content, always try to come back to this, and I just love you guys so much for changing my life day by day. But other than that, let's get straight into this crazy story. All right, yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another crazy story. So this story takes place back when I was in elementary school. So from me just saying that alone, don't expect me saying Devil's Tango in this story, because at that point, that's just very illegal. Yeah. But anyways, this story takes place back when I was in elementary school. In elementary school, I was a potty trained kid. I want to make that clear first before anyone goes out making fun of me saying in the comments, oh my goodness, like, you don't know what you're doing with your life, like L plus ratio. I was potty trained. I just didn't know what I was doing at this moment. Anyways, back in elementary school, this was my grade 4 year, and honestly, I was a basic kid. I was an elementary schooler. I had fun. I did things I like to do, and simple as that. I was just an elementary kid. Obviously, back then, my only main focus was Pokemon cards, playing on my DS, and maybe once in a while playing video games that my parents wouldn't let me play. For example, Call of Duty. I was not allowed to play it back when I was in grade 4, but I still did, secretly. That's a story for another time, but anyways, going on, I remember back in my grade 4 year, my teacher came up to the class and saying, kids, we're gonna go on a school field trip to the swimming pool. And obviously all of us cheered, but me, I didn't cheer. And the reason is because when I was a kid, I was kind of scared of water. Don't ask why. It's not like I was scared of like all water, like, oh, I can't drink water, I'm scared. Like, obviously I drank water. Hell, I'm still alive now. But the main thing was that I was scared of basically big bodies of water. Big bodies of water really scared me. And honestly, I don't know what it was. It just wasn't it for me. But I saw everyone cheering, and I remember seeing my grade 4 crush. Yes, I had an elementary school crush. I know, it's kind of weird. But my elementary school crush was also excited because she was like a pro swimmer. Great. You know, I have really bad choices in women, I guess. But going on, this girl was like a pro swimmer. She was fantastic at it. And apparently she was like, you know, literally in like lessons and stuff since like birth, which is kind of scary. Like, how do you put a baby in water? Like, do you like dunk it? Like, do you like throw it off like the side? I don't know. But anyways, going on, I remember that day when I went home and I told my parents we were going to the swimming pool. My dad kind of got worried because if you guys don't know, back when I was in grade 4, I wasn't a good swimmer, and he knew that I, well, was scared of bodies of water. So he came up to me and saying, Baba, are you sure you want to go swimming? You don't have to go if you don't want to. But me knowing that my crush basically from elementary school was going to be there, and you know, me trying to be cool at least, or somewhat tried to at least be cool, I told him, no, Dad, like I have to go. Like I have to prove something, Dad. He said, okay, but don't force yourself to do anything crazy, okay? And he signed the permission form. Did I really want to go to the swimming pool once he signed that form? No. But anyways, I remember the next day I handed my permission slip in, and everyone started looking at me and like saying, oh, like Bubba's coming to the pool, and everyone starts like kind of hyping it up because I guess when you're in elementary school and you have a field trip, everyone gets excited. It's like a common thing. At least for me in this one field trip though, I guess I wasn't that excited. And you guys will find out why very soon. Just keep watching. Anyways, the day came when I was actually supposed to go to the swimming pool with like, you know, all my friends and stuff and basically go to our field trip. I remember when I was home, I packed my bags and I was very scared, and it got to the point where, you know, I was just shaking. But anyways, I got my ducky swim shorts in my bag, and yes, I did have ducky swim shorts. Don't ask why. I like ducks. Ducks float. I float. Water safety. Boom. Banger. Not literally bang her. Wait, okay, sorry. I'm so used to the Devil's Tango stories that I don't know what I'm saying. But going on, I remember when I got to school with my ducky swim shorts and everything, everyone was looking at me. Everyone had like some cool swim shorts that like, you know, were like radical and stuff, and in mine were just duckies. And let's just say I didn't know you're supposed to change when you got to the pool. I kind of just wore my ducky swim shorts to school. Yeah, kind of dumb. I still regret it to this day. If you guys were in my elementary school and watching this right now, someone could have told me. Hello. But going on, I remember when we were all like, you know, basically gathering together and lining up and basically going to the pool. We started walking to the pool in a straight line. All of us was holding this like weird rope, and my crush was literally right in front of me. I remember as we were walking like towards the pool and all of us holding this rope, my crush turns her head and tells me, Bubba, are you ready to jump off the diving board with me? What? Wait, there's a diving board? It were my exact words I said. And I remember one of the big picky kids that were behind me, or you know, basically like in the back of the line, basically started yelling saying, oh, like Bubba's scared to go on the diving board. What a loser. And obviously the teacher told him to be quiet. But going on, I didn't know there was a diving board there, and I was terrified. I was not ready for this whatsoever. When we get to the pool, we all go to the change rooms, we get changed, and then we come out, and let's just say instantly I saw like the friendly pool And if you guys don't know what the friendly pool was, it was like the little kiddie pool like section where like all the cool kids can go. Like there was a dinosaur spitting water out. Like that's how cool it was. Honestly, I love that pool. And I would always go there every time I go swim with my family. And that was like kind of my go-to. But I remember as I started walking there, I see all the cool kids and my crush basically go to the diving board. And you know me, as I was like walking there, I was like, I don't want to hang out with the loser kids. I want to hang out with the cool kids. That was my mentality at the time. Guys, quick warning. Everyone's a cool kid at elementary school. There's no such thing as actually like being a cool kid. Okay, I'm okay. Actually, no, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. There is a cool kid and I want to be one of them, okay? Screw all that niceness. I want to be a cool kid. So I went to go to the diving board. When I was at the diving board, I saw how deep the water was and I was terrified. Me looking into that water made my stomach kind of ache. And honestly, I wish that I knew at this moment what my stomach was actually telling me, but honestly, I kind of just winged it. But all of them were lining up at the diving board and I joined in the line and we all like kind of just talk smack on all the weird kids in the kid pool, even though they still had the cool spitting dinosaur. I'm jealous. But anyways, going on, I climbed up the ladder to go on that diving board. And when I got to the top of it, I was terrified. I looked down and I see everyone just looking at me. And I had a whole line behind me, just like waiting to go on. Honestly, I think you guys know this feeling that I'm talking about right now when you're like, you have to do it no matter what, but at the same time, you don't want to do it. But if you don't do it, you're going to look like a big loser. And if you do it, then you're like, you know, radical, I guess. You know what I'm saying. But anyways, I remember I started walking up and I walked to the end of the diving board. I looked down and I was shivering. I was cold. I was scared. I was terrified. And I remember what my dad told me. If you don't want to do something, don't do it, Baba. Screw that, Dad. I'm going to do it. I remember I ended up actually, you know, hopping myself up and down, basically, you know, getting my maneuver ready. And I remember I looked at my crush. I counted to 3. 1, 2, 3, jump. But for some reason, as I jumped in midair, I don't know what it was. My stomach like cramped and I took a fat one. Now, if you guys are wondering what I mean, I did not fart. As much as I wish it was a fart, I ended up literally pooping in midair. Like this was like a Call of Duty trick shot that was never made before. The air poop shot. Don't actually do this in public pools. This is not what I'm telling you to do. But basically, I literally pooped in midair as I was jumping off the diving board. I know it sounds crazy and so unbelievable, but honestly, I had no idea what I was doing at this moment. Anyways, I landed in the pool with my poop and literally, I'm not even joking, everyone starts looking into the pool. They saw me in the pool and they saw me rise up from the pool. And as I rised up, I come to the edge and I see everyone's looking in the pool. And I'm like, what's going on, guys? As they were looking in the pool, they see literally my big brown poop just in the pool, in the middle of the deep end, just chilling there. I look at my friends, or so-called friends, and they all start freaking out. They all start like, wait, what? Like, you just pooped in the pool, bro? Like, no way, this guy just pooped. One person actually ran to get his phone and just film it. Well, his iPod. We didn't really have phones in grade 4. And I remember I came out of the pool. I ran to the bathroom. I started wiping my booty cheeks like there was no tomorrow. And then after that, I just sat there crying. It was the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me. I swear, like, I still remember it to this day. Like, my stomach still cramps from thinking about it. So the lesson is here, guys, if you have to poop, poop. And if you don't want to do something, you're scared of it, don't do it. Chances are you're going to poop in the middle of it or just be terrified. All right, so clogging my girlfriend's toilet. Honestly, before the story starts, I just want to mention that if you guys have a strong stomach, you guys can handle being in here. And if you don't, well, just stick around because honestly, this is going to be totally funny and insane. And like I usually say before the story starts, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And as well as, if you guys don't know, today I'm actually doing a hot tub stream live on Twitch. That's right, I'm currently live right now as you guys are watching this video in a hot tub on Twitch. So make sure you guys do go check it out. Links down in the description below. Now, other than that, let's get straight into this crazy story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to an insane story. So funny enough, this story goes back when I was in high school. Back when I was in high school, I believe this was my grade 11th year, and I remember having a girlfriend for a bit. Now, me and her weren't anything like super serious, because let's be real here, being the ultimate F-boy back in high school was not easy. But I can say this much, me having feelings and being a hopeless romantic was true. And I remember I had this one little fling or girlfriend, I would say, and me and her were close. Many of our classmates like knew about like me and her, but to be honest, we kind of just kept it low-key. We never really put a title on it, but to each other, you know, we kind of have that sense. But one thing that you guys need to understand before the story does like really get in depth with me, well, let's just say clogging her damn toilet, is that in every relationship, you guys will have eventually stages to the point where when you guys are really comfortable with each other or when you guys are not so comfortable. And by being really comfortable, I mean, when me and this girl were talking, like we weren't super comfortable to the point where we could fart around each other. Like I think like hearing a girl fart is like seeing the holy grail of like women. Like I didn't even know girls did fart. I thought they tooted. Going on, like I was saying though. So I remember one time when I was in class, I remember going to language arts, and me and her, we actually shared the same language arts class. And in language arts, you usually learn about like crazy like stuff in English, like using the right your and stuff and having like cool arts and crafts. I don't know. It's just a whole bunch bunch of doohickery, and honestly, I never understood it. Going on though, I remember me and her sat beside each other, and we were talking. But as we were talking, I remember she looked at me and she's like, hey, instead of just always doing like the devil's tango all the time, do you want to like maybe like actually like, I don't know, go out for dinner or something? I remember I looked at her and I'm like, damn, okay, she's really asked me for dinner tonight. That was my first thought at least. But then I remember I was like, you know what? I kind of do like this girl. Might as well just take her out. So I remember I was like, sure, like I'm down. Like if you want to go for dinner, like yeah, that's cool. We can go after school today. She looks at me and kind of like smiles in like a way like she was actually like expecting this to happen after all the times we've done the devil's tango. And like honestly, like I didn't mind it. Going on, I remember like towards the end of the school day, she comes up to me all excited and she's like, are you ready to go on our date? And I remember I took her to my car. We got in my car because I had the Silica at that time, and we ended up going for a drive. And as we were driving, I remember I looked at her and I'm like, I have no idea where you want to go for dinner. She looks at me and she's like, well, like, what are you feeling? Me in my head, honestly, my go-to food is usually sushi. I love sushi. I don't know how you Japanese people do it. You guys made some glorious food. But I looked at her and I told her, hey, like maybe you want to go for sushi? She looks at me and she's like, nah, sushi's like boring. Like we should try something special. What? Sushi was boring? I don't know. This woman had some major brain damage or something, but she didn't want sushi. So I remember what ended up happening was that as we were driving, she looks over at like across the street and sees some kind of Mexican shop. Now, don't get me wrong. I have no problem with Mexican food whatsoever. Obviously, like the daily taco and just eating, like it's a good thing. Like I like tacos. I like Mexican food. Like you guys have some amazing food. If you're Mexican, type in the comments down below. What's your favorite type of Mexican food? Or anyone can type that really. Anyway, sorry. Like I was saying though. So I remember as we like me and her, we got out of my car and we ended up going to this Mexican restaurant. We went in there and we sat down and we started eating. I ordered some kind of like spicy plate of like food. I don't know. I'm a killer for spicy food. And she ordered just some weird salad that was like a Mexican salad. In my opinion, it was just a Caesar salad, but apparently it was a Mexican salad. I have no idea. Anyways, I remember we were eating, and as we were eating, like, you know, she was talking to me about getting serious and stuff. And honestly, in my mind, I just wasn't ready for that step. I wasn't ready to really, you know, go to that title because she wanted to like start talking about the title. Let's just say she literally said, hey, like, I think like me and you should like really just, you know, put a title on it and like let the classmates know who we are. You know, just we might as well just make it happen because we always see each other. And I remember I looked at her and I was just kind of like, yo, just like let me think about it, you know, just let me think it through. And then as I told her that, I remember she looked at her phone because it vibrated, and apparently she told me that her parents were leaving. She literally explained to me like this, hey, so like my mom just texted me and said they're leaving right now out of like the house. I guess they're like going out to like a trip or something. You want to go to my place? And when a chick says she's home alone, or when a chick says she doesn't have parents over, you know what was my main thing to do in high school? I dashed to their house, and knowing that the chick was already with me, hell, why not go home with her? Win-win scenario. It was like I was already 20. So I remember we ended up getting in my car after eating, and we ended up going to her place. And when we did, I remember me and her, well, we went up to the bedroom, and as usual, I did the devil's tango. But the issue was here. I remember the main issue was that the Mexican food that was in my stomach started rumbling. And I remember as me and her were doing the devil's tango, my stomach was like rolling loud. Like it was just so much making noise to the point where she even like stopped me halfway through saying, hey, like your stomach's like really making noise. Are you okay? I look at her and I open my eyes wide and I realized that my eyes were watering, and it got to the point where I farted in front of her. She looks at me and she's like, did you just fart? And I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I remember dashing to the bathroom. Like I literally sprinted to the bathroom and I sat down, and oh my goodness. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I poop on stream a lot. Like if you guys ever join my Twitch live streams, like yeah, when I go to the bathroom, you guys can hear me talk to you guys as I'm doing it. But this one time specifically, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I shat like there was no tomorrow. It was like giving birth to like a giant brown poop. It was unreal. I remember as I was like, you know, pushing hard with my stomach, and you know, we all know the feeling of having a bad stomach ache or a bad, you know, toilet day. I remember I hear her knock on the door and she's like, hey, like, do you need any help in there? Do you want me to come in there and help you? Hell no, girl. I'm pooping. Like, I didn't know what to tell this girl, bro. Like, we're not even that close. Like, damn, like, I didn't think like me and her wanting to be closer. She wanted to literally come in and see me poop. Like, what is this knowledge? Hello, brain damage? It just didn't make sense to me. I was just mind blown by how she wanted to come in. And I literally told her, I'm gonna keep the bathroom door locked. Thank you, though. But in reality, I had a million things going on in my mind. Then, you know, after a while, I'm not gonna lie, I want to say like 30 minutes in, I was fine. I was feeling all right. And I remember, you know, wiping, standing up, and I'm like, okay, I'm all set. I'm good to go. I remember like I tried flushing her toilet, and God, oh my goodness, like there was like a mountain on there. Like I'm not joking. Like it made Mount Everest seem small. Going on, I flush her toilet. It goes clunk, clunk, clunk. Yeah, no, this thing was not going down. Pressing it over and over to the point where like the toilet started flooding. And at that point, she knocks on the door and she's like, hey, like, is everything all right in there? Like, you've been in there for a minute. Girl, I've been here 35 minutes and you're telling me now that the toilet's clogged, do you want to come in here? So I remember opening the door and I, out of embarrassment, I closed the toilet seat as it's like flooding out of water. And she looks over at the toilet and she's like, did you really just clog my toilet with Mexican food? No, girl, I clogged it with my poop. Oh no, she got all upset and everything. And I remember she had actually wanted to open the toilet seat, but I told her, like, if you open up that toilet seat, you're not gonna want to see me again. She looks at me and she's like, don't worry about it. Like, you're just messing around. She opens the toilet seat and she opened her eyes wider than she's like the first time she saw my eggplant. Like, she was freaking out. She's like, oh my gosh. Like, it was like I could solve world hunger with how much I did in that toilet. Okay, guys, like, it was bad. Going on, I remember like she looked at me and I looked at her and we both did not know what to do. We were both panicking in a way where we had no idea how to fix this toilet issue. And then I remember, since her parents were gone, we had to figure out a way where we could get this fixed without her parents knowing. So I had this idea, and no one should do this idea, by the way. This was a bad idea, but we didn't end up doing it. But my idea was to dig the poop out and throw it in the toilet. I don't know. Are we allowed to throw poop in the toilet? Like, is that legal? Like, we can do it for dogs. Can we do it for human, like, feces? Is that allowed? I don't know. I have no idea, but I told her that idea and she's like, I am not digging into your poop. And I'm gonna be honest, like, it was a 2-person job down there. Like, she didn't want to do it. So I remember I was like, okay, you don't want to do that? Then we can go to plan B. Plan B was to go to her neighbor's house and ask her neighbor to help us out because her neighbor was a plumber, luckily. So I remember I ended up walking over to the neighbor's house and I said, hey, like, I'm just a random stranger. I randomly want to use this person's house to go use the toilet, and I ended up clogging the toilet. The neighbor looks at me all weird. He's like, what? And he's like all like confused. And I remember we ended up going to like her house and I went with the neighbor and he went and looked at the toilet and he was even shocked. And this guy was like 40 years old. He could legit be my dad and he was judging me. Honestly, I don't know. Things got worse and worse. And I remember it got to the point where like, the whole situation was settled. Luckily, somehow he had some kind of like worm thing to put down the toilet through all my feces I put in there and ended up fixing it all. But the main thing was that when he was fixing it, me and, the chick I was seeing, we ended up talking and it turns out that we have a lot of differences. And let's just say Mexican food was one of the major ones. Since then, like, I don't get me wrong, I have the daily Mexican food, but it just wasn't for me. Okay, so one funny thing that I learned growing up is that girls toot and boys fart. Okay, now another thing I learned growing up is that that's a pure lie. Girls fart the same way guys do, except they try to do it more silent because I guess they're more ladylike. I have no idea. But when it comes to the bathroom slash restroom slash washroom, whatever you call it, let's just say what goes on down there should be nobody's business. But before I do get into this crazy story, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And on top of that, if you guys haven't joined the Discord server, I highly advise it. I might one day even tell your guys' stories on the channel. So please join the Discord server. Link is down below. But other than that, let's get straight into this crazy, insane, awesome story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story I'm going to be telling you guys is something that is really kind of gross. So this is a fair warning to all the people out there. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but it is disgusting. So for all those people with like a really weak stomach, I highly advise don't watch this video if you're eating. So finish your food. I'll wait. Actually, I'm not because I just realized this is a video. And basically, when you guys are ready, resume with the video. Anyways, going on, I remember back when I was in middle school, this was my grade 8 year, and this was like the year right before I get to high school. And I remember there was one girl in our school who was, well, how do I put this? She was really a big one, as you may say. I don't know. I don't really like fat shaming on the channel, but in reality, when a person's fat, like, I think we all know they're fat. Like, I hate to break it to you. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm there for body positivity and stuff, but from first glance, if you see someone that's fat, they're fat. Like, I hate to break it to you. I'm not one to change society. I'm not one to change the world here, but we all know that feeling. And basically in our school, I remember there was this kind of big chick in our school, and she was like kind of like, she was interesting. And then I remember in my grade 8 year, me and her, we would like talk as friends and stuff, and she was like kind of like, she was just cool and stuff. I remember like she was actually a pretty smart girl. And out of nowhere, I remember me and her, we ended up getting a science project together. We were in science class together, and she would always help me with science because, well, she was a smart one. And me in science, well, I wasn't that great. So I remember we had a science lab to do together, and basically she decided to be my partner, and basically our assignment was to make a volcano. I think we all know this typical project that most teachers let us do. Like basically you get like some cool like chemicals, and it's like, woo, volcano. Yeah, we basically had to do that project. I remember me and her, we had to like do it in a span of 3 days. And I remember for one of those days, we really needed to get it done. Because the first 2 days, I'm not gonna lie, the whole time I was on my phone watching Jacksepticeye as she was doing most of the work. But she needed help with like the actual like painting and stuff. And she told me I was a very creative kid, which is kind of nuts because I'm not that creative. But going on, she told me how like she needed my help with it, but we didn't have time to do it at school. So I remember she ended up telling me, is there any way to do it at like your house? Because like my house is like really like occupied and my dad doesn't want me bringing guys over. So I remember I ended up messaging my mom saying, hey mom, I need to do a science project. Can I bring this girl over? My mom's like, ooh, is it a girl you like? And then I ended up sending a picture of her to my mom and she kind of just understood what I meant. I know, kind of weird, but going on with the story. I remember she ended up coming over to my house, and when she came over to my house, me and her were working on this volcano. I was just doing the painting and stuff, and you know, we were doing all the chemicals, and we ended up doing a test run on this volcano, and it ended up working perfectly. But I don't know for some reason why, but my mom ended up bringing us some chili and garlic bread to like eat while working on the project, and God, was that the biggest mistake of her damn life, because you guys will see. Going on, I remember we ended up eating that garlic bread and chili and stuff, and when we were running the test run, we did like a couple of them to make sure it worked, and things ended up working great. But out of nowhere, my stomach started hurting, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go quickly to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, I did my relief because we all know what chili and garlic do. But out of nowhere, as I'm sitting on the toilet about to use my beautiful bidet, out of nowhere, I just literally hear slamming on the door. Bum, bum, bum. Baba, I need to really go in there right now. Baba, like I really need to enter the bathroom, please, can you come out? Me, I'm just kind of sitting there like, oh yeah, just give me a minute. I don't have a minute, I really need to go. And me in my head, I'm thinking, oh, okay, you know what, I should probably really get out of here. So me, I ended up standing up off the toilet with me not wiping. I know, disgusting. And basically I pulled out my pants and ran out the bathroom. She ended up sprinting in there, and I remember as I like saw her sprint in, I saw her like behind, and she was literally, I think there was like some brown stains on her pants, and I'm like, oh god. So I remember she ended up slamming the door on me, sitting down, and all I hear is the it was disgusting. I hate to do that to you guys, but you guys don't understand. It was so gross. Like, it was like hearing a waterfall of like marshmallows and like hot chocolate. No, that sounds really good, actually. I would eat that. Sorry, going on. I remember that happened. It was ultimately the most disgusting thing ever. So me not wanting to hear that, I ended up going to the living room, and I basically sat down and waited until she got out because I still had to wipe. And I remember my mom ended up coming up to me saying, hey, is she okay in there, Baba? She sounds very, very dying. And I'm like, oh yeah, she's probably just letting literally everything out of her system, is what I told her. Going on, I remember basically out of nowhere though, 10 minutes went by and I walked up to the bathroom and I'm like, hey, is everything okay in there? And instantly I hear her say, oh, don't worry about me. Just like, don't worry about it. Don't come in, please. I got this. She was legit panicking, like crazy panicking. And I have no idea why. Like, it was just a bathroom and I still have to wipe. Like, hello. Anyways, I remember like I just let it go and I just let her have her time in there. Me, I just kept painting the volcano and making it brown. But as I was painting it, out of nowhere, I remember my dad ends up coming home, and he came home like after like of her 20 minutes in the bathroom, and he went straight for the bathroom. But when he went for the bathroom, it was locked. And then as he was stepping around, he ended up splashing in like a little puddle. He got so upset at me, and he's like slamming on the door of the bathroom saying, Papa, what did you do in there? Did you end up clogging the toilet? And when I heard my dad say my name, I ended up going to the front of the bathroom door where he was, and I'm like, Dad, what do you mean? I'm right here. My dad's so confused, and he's like, who's in the bathroom if you're here? And I'm like, oh, my friend's in there. He's like, oh, who's your friend? I'm like, oh, it's a girl for the science project we're doing. My dad's like, you brought a girl over to my house? He ends up slamming the door even more, and I'm like, Dad, like, what's the issue? And he's like, she's clogging my toilet. What do you mean, Dad? I end up looking on the ground. I see there's a giant puddle, but this puddle was like a brownish kind of puddle. And from there, I'm like, no way this girl actually ended up clogging my toilet. Like, she clogged my legitimate toilet, bro. So I remember I was panicking. I'm like, hey, like, are you okay in there? I think the toilet's clogged. And I remember right after that, I hear washing of hands, and then after that she opens the door and she's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do it, I'm so sorry, oh my god. And I just see all over the ground is just urine and feces, and it was disgusting. If I could paint a picture, I think I would get demonetized. Like, it was that bad. I remember my dad's like saying how he doesn't want to go in there because, like, you know, it's not his own kids urine and feces, it's someone else's, and it's just disgusting. And when my dad looked at the chick, he didn't really want to go in there even more. So like, I remember my dad ended up calling her dad, and basically they ended up like coming over and they tried fixing the toilet and stuff, and her dad was totally cool with it because apparently it happens a lot in their house. Yeah, really awkward. And basically, as me and her were finishing up the volcano, I remember they were just trying to fix the bathroom, and let's just say 2 things erupted that day. I don't know, funny joke. At least that's what I thought. And yeah, the next day we ended up getting an A on the project because we really got the eruption right. Okay, I'm done. But anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's story. story. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And on top of that, join the Discord server. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys join the Discord and I get to talk to you guys about crazy stories like this one. Anyways, like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.
My name is Baba. I'm still on top of the world. Never taken with your mother. Of course, let's go. Should I make it a story? Let's click record. Got that TikTok with 2 mil, hit different with some more. She said she love me, she kept. Should I exit for sure? I got 100K for my life's work, so mama said bravo. All these people on my street, love y'all till the day I got home. I got 100K in my plane.